Understand, in that 88th minute last night, with that damning non-answer, Senator Vance made it clear he will always make a different choice than Mike Pence made. And as I said then, and I will say now, that should be absolutely disqualifying if you're asking to be the Vice President of the United States.
It absolutely should be disqualifying. My name is Brett Meiselas here with the MeidasTouch Network, and that was Governor Tim Walz out there in York, Pennsylvania, absolutely shredding J.D. Vance in the wake of that debate. We all now remember that final moment in the debate, the moment that everybody is talking about, where the entire debate slipped away from J.D. Vance when Tim Walz cornered him with a very simple question. Do you accept the fact that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? And J.D. Vance refused to answer the question. And as Tim Walz said, his non-answer said a whole lot. I'm going to play you some clips from this incredible event that Tim Walz did in front of a large crowd in York, Pennsylvania, where he shredded Vance, he shredded Trump. But first, I need to make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 3.5 million subscribers. Okay, first I want to show you the full clip of that little short moment that I showed you at the beginning of this video. Watch this full moment where Walz describes what happened in that 88th minute of that debate. Check this out.
It felt, especially in that moment to me, that Senator Vance was speaking to an audience of one. Now look, there is a reason Mike Pence was not on that stage with me. And let me just say this. I served with Mike Pence in Congress. We disagreed on most issues, but in Congress and as a vice president, I never criticized Mike Pence's ethics and commitment to this country, and he made the decision for the Constitution. Mike Pence did his duty. He honored his oath, and he chose the Constitution over Donald Trump. Understand, in that 88th minute last night, with that damning non-answer, Senator Vance made it clear he will always make a different choice than Mike Pence made. And as I said then, and I will say now, that should be absolutely disqualifying if you're asking to be the Vice President of the United States.
And the point that Tim Walz made about Mike Pence not being there, I love that he's saying that. I almost wish he said that in the very beginning of the debate. Hey, J.D. Vance, listen, why do you think you're here and not that former guy who was the VP? What's going on there? Kamala Harris, the campaign, is jumping on this. They released this meme on Wednesday. Always ask employers why the position is open, with a photo of J.D. Vance and Mike Pence. Funny, but also a horrifying truth about the reality of the situation. And this meme right here says so much. I love it so much. So brilliant, this Kamala Harris campaign team. I want to show you some other moments from this rally in York, Pennsylvania. Here's Walz again speaking about that moment, saying, I asked the simplest question on the planet. It was a very simple question. Watch.
When you're governor, congressman, you're trying to solve problems, whatever you want a straight answer on something. The moment that really stuck out is I just asked the simplest of all questions that every single American should be able to answer. I asked him if Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. He refused to answer.
As a reminder, let's rewatch that pivotal moment from the debate.
This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about censorship. Obviously.
Then there was this moment around the same time during the debate. I don't think this part has gotten enough attention, but this was brilliant as well from Tim Walz.
Does have the floor for 1 minute to respond to you.
Yeah, well, I don't run Facebook. What I do know is I see a candidate out there who refused, and now again, and this, I'm pretty shocked by this, he lost the election. This is not a debate. It's not anything anywhere other than in Donald Trump's world. Because look, when Mike Pence made that decision to certify that election, that's why Mike Pence isn't on this stage. What I'm concerned about is, where is the firewall with Donald Trump? Where is the firewall if he knows he could do anything, including taking an election, and his vice president's not going to stand to it? That's what we're asking you, America. Will you stand up? Will you keep your oath of office, even if the president doesn't? And I think Kamala Harris would agree. She wouldn't have picked me if she didn't think I would do that, because of course that's what we would do. So America, I think you've got a really clear choice on this election of who's going to honor that democracy and who's going to honor Donald Trump.
Governor,
And so J.D. Vance held an event in Auburn Hills, Michigan, and it was a complete disaster. I think he was completely thrown off his game by Tim Walz and by that question, because it's honestly kind of all anybody is even speaking about that vice presidential debate. So he did take some questions during this event in Michigan, and a reporter asked, why did you not answer the question last night about who won the 2020 presidential election? Here's what Vance said.
Hi, Senator. Will Jones from Local 4.
Hey, Will.
I spoke with some elected officials or election officials last week about their concern about people who are trying to undermine our elections. Why didn't you answer the question last night during the debate about who won the 2020 presidential election?
Well, look, here's the simple reason. The media is obsessed with talking about the election of 4 years ago. I'm focused on the election of 33 days from now because I want to...
Once again, J.D. Vance, that's not an answer. And he says this whole thing about how the media is obsessed with talking about the election from 4 years ago. Yeah, because that will be your responsibility if you are vice president. This is actually a question about the future. Will you acknowledge the results of your election, and will you do the constitutional duty? One of the only things that a vice president is required to do. Will you uphold your oath if Donald Trump does not uphold his the same way he did not uphold his in 2020? And once again, J.D. Vance is failing the most basic tests, the most basic qualifications needed for the job.
All right, are you ready for this fact? Traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses. It's just gross. Miracle Made, however, offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. It's why I use Miracle Made on my bedding. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you get a better sleep every single night. It's why I love Miracle Sheets. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So go to trymiracle.com/Meidas. Trymiracle.com/Meidas and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save up to 40%. And if you use our promo code Meidas at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas and use the code Meidas to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Meidas to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
And Vance was just saying weird things, like he said that he loves that Donald Trump takes advice and feedback from everybody. Watch this.
And one of the things that I love about Donald Trump is that he takes advice and feedback from everybody.
Commenters were quick to jump on J.D. Vance's ridiculous statements right there. Dennis and Barb wrote, especially from Putin. This other person wrote, everybody from Marjorie Taylor Greene to Laura Loomer to Sidney Powell to Rudy Giuliani to that crackhead pillow guy. Jared Ryan Sears wrote, Putin, Xi, Kim, MAGA conspiracy theorist, the voices in his head. Trump takes advice from everybody. Dump Trump wrote, that's quite literally the opposite of the truth. Trump says he knows better than the experts. I think the only one that I would add there is the Truth Social comment section. Donald Trump seems to take a lot of advice from them. I'd love to hear who you think Donald Trump takes advice to in the comments. Let us know. We could have some fun with it. Okay, let's get back to that rally with Governor Walz. Governor Walz was speaking about famous quotes throughout history. I thought this was brilliant. Watch this.
But our democracy is strong, and we know that campaigns are supposed to be about giving a vision. And last night you saw two very different visions for the future of this country. You also, a couple weeks ago, saw two very different visions of leadership on the debate stage with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Presidents' words mean something. Presidents' words have consequences. When this nation is in some of the most difficult times, we turn and look for that leadership. In the heart of the Great Depression, at that first inaugural, Franklin Delano Roosevelt looked at Americans who were suffering and, to reassure them and bring us together, said, "All we have to fear is fear itself." And it is a quote that echoes through history because it went to who we are. And what he was talking about was rallying together. When communism was on a spread, when the Russian Empire was spreading, Ronald Reagan stood there and said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall." And as Donald Trump and Kamala Harris sat on that stage, articulating a vision and showing what type of leadership they had, FDR made his quote, Gorbachev made his quote, Donald Trump yelled, "They're eating dogs, they're eating cats." Now look, I'm with you. I'm with you. If this wasn't so damn serious, it would be funny. But character matters. Character matters. And Kamala Harris has it. Her vision is about bringing us together and being a president for all Americans.
The reaction to the debate, I think, is so different than a lot of these political pundits wanted to push the night of the debate. I would admit, I'll happily admit that Tim Walz got off to a very slow start at the debate. JD Vance was prepared. He's slick. He lies through his teeth, but he does so in an effective way. But Tim Walz found his footing and ultimately landed what was the most memorable moment of the night, those clips that we showed earlier. And the polls are proving this out, that people think Tim Walz did a better job in a lot of respects, and people are liking him even much more. Let me just show you a breakdown here of some of the flash polls that happened after that vice presidential debate. Here is a CNN instant poll that shows Tim Walz. This is a question: are they qualified to serve as president? Before the debate, Tim Walz was at 62%. After the debate, 65%. So he went up. Following the VP debate, Tim Walz went from well-liked to beloved, with his net favorables increasing tremendously. JD Vance went from loathed to still not well-liked. While his favorables increased, he is still underwater. So there you have that. Let's show this. This is from CBS News. CBS News shows basically a dead heat in their flash poll. They had 42% of respondents say JD Vance won the debate. They had 41% of respondents say that Walz won the debate, and 17% said it was a tie. So that poll basically shows it to be a wash. And here's another favorability poll, this one from MSNBC. Tim Walz's favorability improved by 13 points after the debate. JD Vance's favorability increased by 11 points after the debate. But note those unfavorables on the right. Tim Walz very low unfavorables at 22%. JD Vance still underwater, with more people disliking him, with an unfavorable rating of 44%. Here's the Politico snap poll of the debate, and this is probably one of the most important stats that we could take out of that debate. Tim Walz won independents 58% to 42% over Vance. You heard that right. The independent voters who watched that debate liked Walz way more than they liked Vance. And you know why? I think despite all the slick talking, I think that Tim Walz came across as genuine, and I think JD Vance came across as slimy and kind of like snake-like, you know? And I think that final moment really drilled that point into viewers. Like, you're really not going to accept the results of an election. You can't even acknowledge that Donald Trump lost the election. That's like the most basic thing. It's the most basic requirement of the job. And speaking of those independent voters from before, here's a video of an undecided Michigan voter in the CNN flash poll after the debate. They had a little focus group. This individual said that they were going to vote for Kamala Harris after seeing this vice presidential debate because of Tim Walz's question to JD Vance and JD Vance's answer on the issue around January 6th and whether Donald Trump lost the election. Watch.
Well, I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. You know, one of the stark sort of aspects of that debate that really stuck with me was when they were talking about January 6th and how Mike Pence certified the election, and they were wondering if JD Vance would certify the election should Trump lose. And, you know, JD Vance didn't really give us a definitive answer, and I'm disappointed in that fact. And I don't think that I can trust someone, you know, with my vote if they're not going to respect it.
And there you have it, folks. With just around 30 days until Election Day, I can't believe I'm saying that. How is it this close? We have Tim Walz taking the momentum from the debate and running with it towards the finish line. I love to see him and the Vice President Harris campaign highlighting that horrific non-answer by JD Vance, which, as I said before, I think is the ultimate sign that that individual is not qualified to not only not be vice president, but to not be anywhere near any levers of our government whatsoever. It is so telling. It is so utterly disqualifying. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. We appreciate it. My name is Brett Meiselas. Remember to hit subscribe, okay? We're on our way to 3.5 million subscribers here on YouTube. We can't do it without you. Another way to help, go check out the MeidasTouch podcast anywhere you listen to audio podcasts and give us a 5-star review. All right, I'll be back shortly. Thank you so much for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.